Today on ZZZ Made Easy, we're taking it easy because we're going to let Pan Yinhu cook. He's serving up a sheer force buffet. We'll talk about Pan Yinhu's main mechanics, how to build them, and some teams, team you can go well with. This video contains footage from the creator beta server, so there are no sound effects and things are subject to change. Thank you Hoyoverse for letting me participate. Pan Yinhu is an A-rank physical defense agent from Yunhui Summit. Pan doesn't have a shield for the team, instead he's cooking up a tasty meal that will heal everyone. Pan Yinhu is here to support the brand new Rupture Class. He offers a unique sheer force buff and has a more general damage taken debuff. Pan is made to complement Yixuan, but assuming we get more Rupture agents, he should be able to support them as well. Yixuan Shifu has an incredible amount of moves, but Pan is thankfully much simpler to play. He has one main move, and that's his EX special, Mountainous Pulse Strike. With 60 energy, press the special button and Pan does a forward strike, dealing physical damage. On activation, he gains 3 Break Force points. This is represented under his portrait. With Break Force points, Pan can press a special button to do Touch of Death at cost of 1 point. Ideally, you do not need to do Touch of Death manually. When landing his EX special, Pan will activate a Quick Assist backwards in the team order. If Pan switches out with his Quick Assist, he's going to stay on the field and automatically do Touch of Death as long as he has Break Force points. Pan is invulnerable as he finishes his Touch of Death attacks. This is basically Pan Yinhu's main gameplay loop. Do EX special, Quick Assist backwards, and do Touch of Death in the background. From the core passive, when Pan triggers a Quick Assist from the EX special, or if the EX special triggers a chain attack, the ally swapping in next will get a sheer force buff. This buff is equal to 18% of Pan's attack stat at core passive level F. It lasts for a decently long 25 seconds, and you can keep track of the buff timer via the panda icon under his HP. This sheer force buff has a max of 540. To reach that number, assuming core passive level F, Pan Yinhu needs 3000 attack. If you aren't familiar with Rupture agents, I need to explain what sheer damage and sheer force are. In version 2.0, the new Rupture class utilizes a new sheer damage type. Sheer damage ignores all the enemy's defense stats. This means sheer damage dealers like Yixuan do not benefit from defense shred or pen ratio. In addition, sheer damage is calculated using a new sheer force stat. Sheer force takes the place of attack in the usual damage formula. Rupture agents can convert 30% of their attack stat into sheer force. They still benefit from attack buffs, but Pan Yinhu's direct sheer force buff is extremely strong. 540 sheer force is equivalent to an 1800 attack buff. Our best attack buffer in the game, Astra, only gives 1200 attack. Pan Yinhu will further cement his Rupture support status with his additional ability. Unfortunately, due to being part of a new faction that supports a new class type, Pan has the strictest conditions so far. He requires a Rupture agent or a fellow Yunhui Summit agent. At the time of this video, that is literally only Yixuan. Soon, when Jufufu is released, Pan can work alongside her too. For this additional ability, when Pan hits an enemy with Touch of Death, they will suffer the Depleted Chi effect. Depleted Chi makes the target take 20% more damage for 10 seconds. Each Touch of Death can stack the 10-second timer. This means with his 3 Break Force points, Pan can apply 30 seconds worth of Depleted Chi. From my testing, there actually isn't a cap to the debuff timer. If Pan can do EX special and Touch of Death, then another EX special with more touches of death, the Depleted Chi timer would just keep stacking. Pan's general game plan is very simple. Get 60 energy, do EX special, and then swap out with the backwards Quick Assist. This will activate the core passive and give the ally swapping in a 540 sheer force buff. At the same time, Pan will stay on field and do 3 Touch of Death attacks. If he lands all 3, he's going to apply 30 seconds of Depleted Chi, which makes the enemy take 20% more damage. Another way to do this is if Pan's EX special triggers a chain attack. You could pass the sheer force buff to your third ally, but generally speaking, Pan just wants to swap to the Rupture DPS. Pan Yinhu offers a couple more things for the team. To fulfill his defense agent role, Pan's a healer. Pan's ultimate has an amazing animation and is a simple burst of damage. After activating, Pan Yinhu heals the entire squad for 820 HP. For the next 8 seconds, the squad will heal 1.4% of their max HP per second. These values are at ultimate level 12, the more you level the skill, the more Pan will heal for. With Mindscapes, Pan can hit level 16. At this rank, the ultimate will heal for 1060 HP and then 1.6% max HP per second. The main reason Pan is a healer is because of the new miasma hazards. Too much miasma causes the entire team to take damage. Pan Yinhu's team heal will synergize with Yixuan's ultimates. Her ultimates will cause the team to split their HP evenly. Pan then applies his teamwide heal after. Do keep in mind, the battle tower is said to be getting updated soon. You could run Pan and Astra for 2 healing ultimates. That would be nice, assuming you don't just get outright one-shot. The next bonus Pan offers his team is a stronger defensive assist parry. When you perfect assist in against big bosses, Pan will only consume 1 assist point. Always a nice perk to have if you need to cover someone. Before moving on, let's talk about Pan Yinhu's Mindscapes since they are all quality of life improvements. First, Mindscape 1 states enemies with depleted chi take another 10% bonus damage. With the addition ability's base 20% damage taken debuff, M1 simply brings this to 30%. For Mindscape 2, for every 6 points of break force consumed, Pan recovers 4 energy. The depleted chi debuff now lasts for 12 seconds on each individual application. Every 2 EX specials, Pan would do 6 touches of death, which gets back 4 energy. Not mind-blowing, but we'll take it. As for the longer debuff duration, the standard 3 touch of deaths will now last for 36 seconds instead of 30 seconds. For Mindscape 4, Pan's ultimate healing is increased by 25% for both the flat healing amount and the heal over time. On each ult cast, he's going to gain the backup provisions effect. Whenever anyone on your team takes damage, backup provisions is consumed to give 50% of the ultimate's flat healing recovery. M4 improves Pan Yinhu's healing ability, great for the battle tower and if you take a lot of miasma damage. Mindscape 6 states that the core passive's Sheer Force buff gains an additional 6% of Pan's initial attack stats. Its new max Sheer Force buff is now 720. Unlike say Lucy's Mindscapes, which lower her attack threshold needed to max out her buff, Pan Yinhu's M6 still requires 3000 attack. Instead, Pan's max Sheer Force buff is increased. It now scales with 24% of his initial attack. 24% of 3000 is 720. Just to reiterate how much this is, to get 720 sheer force from bonus attack, a Rupture agent will need to receive a 2400 attack buff. That's double what Astra can give. You can probably expect future Rupture supports to grant even more sheer force than this. Next, let's go over some tips and things to be aware of when using Pan on your team. If you do not use the quick assist, Pan cannot pass his core passive sheer force buff. Additionally, he will no longer do Touch of Death automatically. It's going to be vital to stay on Pan until he lands his EX special. This even applies to generally useful things like Perfect Assist. If you activate the EX special and then Perfect Assist before Pan gets the Quick Assist prompt, your agent swapping in doesn't get buffed. It's tempting to hit the button with the shiny flash, but be patient. Pan has full iframe, so you gotta commit to the EX special first. There is another strange interaction with swapping. Let's say you only have 2 agents and a Bang Boo with a chain attack. If Pan starts the chain attack with his EX special, then swaps to the Bang Boo, even though your other agent will automatically do their chain attack after, the Sheer Force buff does not get passed to them. If you're gonna duo with Yixuan and maybe the new Yunquist Summit Bang Boo, do be aware of this. Now when Pan Yinhu is doing Touch of Death from off field, you cannot swap back to him until he is finished. If you wanted to Perfect Assist or something, you're gonna need to wait. Next thing to keep in mind is that Pan's debuff is mostly single target. He's not doing the big AoE attacks with Touch of Death, so against multiple bosses, you may need to just focus down one first. Let's go over a few scenarios for Pan Yinhu's various teams. His main ally would be Yixuan since she's the only Rupture agent. You always want Pan Yinhu to be to the right of Yixuan in the team order. This way his backwards quick assist will go to her and she's going to get the Sheer Force buff. With the quick assist, Pan is a good Astral Voice holder. If he's the only quick assist agent on your team, it may be tough to get the full stacked up buff, but Pan can work well with the other quick assisters. Starting with Trigger and Polka, these two stunners have backwards quick assists. With them on the team, I would recommend placing them after Pan Yinhu. Both Trigger and Polka can utilize Pan's EX specials to activate their aftershocks. Essentially, before Pan refreshes his buffs, you want Trigger or Polka to go first. Let them quick assist into Pan. Pan uses his EX special to proc their aftershocks, and then he will quick assist into Yixuan with all the buffs ready. This will give Yixuan 2 stacks of Astral Voice as bonus damage. The nice thing about Pan carrying Astral Voice for these teams is that Trigger and Polka can now run the new King of the Summit Stunner support set. It's a very nice team setup for Yixuan. Now let's say you run Yixuan and Pan with a regular forward quick assister. These would be the normal support agents. The team order is still going to be Yixuan, then Pan Yinhu, and then the supports. For this example, I'm going to use Lucy. The buffing order is going to be a little different this time. If you start on Pan with an EX special, he will quick assist to Yixuan and buff her up. This gives 1 Astral Voice stack. If you press the default agent swap button while Pan is doing Touch of Death, the game will automatically swap to your other agent, aka Lucy. From here, Lucy can use her EX special to quick assist forward into Yixuan again. This gives a 2nd Astral Voice stack. Basically, you do not need to do a backward swap input. After Pan's EX special, just double tap the normal swap agent button. This will get you to Lucy, who can bring you back to Yixuan. If you want to start buffing from Lucy, you do the same thing. Use EX special, double tap the swap button to get to Pan Yinhu, use his EX special to quick assist back to Yixuan. She now has 2 Astral Voice stacks with everyone's buffs refreshed. If you end up in a situation where Pan needs to rebuff but you're close to a stun, you can use his EX special to start the chain attack sequence. You must bring in Yixuan next, otherwise she doesn't get the sheer force buff. Now after Yixuan comes in, Pan's going to be applying his touch of death debuff. Yixuan's chain attack is kinda short, meaning Pan hasn't finished his 3 touches of death. If you pick Pan to go next in the chain attack order, then you're gonna lose 1 stack of his debuff timer. That's 10 seconds, which isn't the biggest issue for a stun phase, but it's still lost time. Now if you wanted Yixuan to do double chain attacks and you started the stun with Pan's EX special, then you're gonna need to use your 3rd agent to get the next chain off. Pan would be on the field still, so you can't swap to him, just be aware of that. When it comes to building Pan, we need to build a lot of attack, similar to Astra. Energy regen will be appreciated though to keep up EX specials for rebuffing. Pan Yinhu's A-rank signature is Tremor Trigram Vessel. It has a 25% attack main stat. The effect grants 25% EX special and ultimate damage. Whenever anyone in your squad takes damage or recovers HP, the equipper will gain 2 energy. This can occur once every 5 seconds. If you don't take damage, this is kind of a strange energy recovery effect. It should work with Yixuan's HP balancing though, and obviously Pan can heal your team. Since his ultimate heals over time for 8 seconds, Pan can trigger the energy recovery 2 times. 4 energy is not a lot, but we're gonna take. Now the EX special and ultimate damage effect is interesting if you wanted your defense agents to deal damage. Unfortunately, I wouldn't call Pan Yinhu a sub DPS if that's what you're looking for. For the other A-rank options, you could use Set's signature for another 25% attack main stat. Sadly, since Pan doesn't shield himself, you can't use its energy regen effect. There is the Battle Pass Spring and Base. It has a lower base attack, but it still has the 25% attack main stats, and Pan can utilize its 10% energy generation rate buff. You just need to get attacked, not damaged. This means Pan Yinhu can activate the effect with a perfect assist. To make use of the energy generation rate though, you need to be attacking with Pan. This is not passive energy regen. Spring Embrace will pass its buff to the next agent swapping in as well. Unfortunately, since Yixuan doesn't use energy, well, it's not gonna help her. Next, in version 2.0, there's an interesting new event W engine called Real Projector. This is from the movie theater event. 15% impact main stat, and it grants damage reduction and reduced miasma contamination effects if above 50% HP. I believe this affects the whole team, so along with his healing ultimate, Pan can use this for exploration. I don't know if we're gonna need this type of survivability, but something to keep in mind. As a last resort, Pan can just use a non-defense attack main stat W engine. Among the craftables, you can use good old Starlight engine. For a fun option, you could use the singular S-rank defense W engine. Caesar's signature will be returning in version 2.0. It has high base attack, but an impact main stat. When anyone on your team causes an interrupt or perfect dodges, everyone also gets extra damage and daze for 20 seconds. It's a neat little buffing option. For Drive Disc, Pan Yinhu is a little limited in his main stat selection. Like Astra, you pretty much need to go all % attack in position 4, 5, and 6. If you use 8% attack main stat W engine, then you can go energy regen in position 6. You could do impact as well. Personally, I like using energy regen, but Pan can function without it. His core passive does give energy regen as you level it up. If you want to use an energy regen disc, then I have an example at the bottom of how much % attack you need to stack to hit 3000 attack. This is assuming Pan Yinhu is level 60 and you're using one of the A-rank 594 base attack options. This can be Starlight Engine or Spring Embrace. With these W engines, including the fully leveled drive disc in Petition 2, you need plus 114% attack. To get there, Starlight Engine adds 25%, double % attack main stats in Petition 4 and 5 gives 60%, the Astral Voice 2-piece gives 10%, that puts us at 95%. We need 19% more. This would be equivalent to 7% attack substats, each of those being 3% each. Technically, it's closer to 6 substats. Now, if you want to optimize, 6 or 7 substats for farming isn't too bad to achieve. You also got flat attack substats to include. If you use Pan's signature, the slightly higher base attack will only require 5% attack substats. If you're going to be using the double engines without the attack main stats though, well, you most likely do need to run triple % attack drive discs. In that case, I would still suggest trying to get 2-piece swing jazz to give 20% energy regen. For the actual 4-piece sets, Pan Yinhu is a decent Astral Voice user. He uses his quick assist to pass his sheer force buff, so you may as well add some extra bonus damage at the same time. It also gives him more % attack, but to keep Astral Voice's stacks up, Pan will need an ally to help him out. If someone else on the team is using Astral Voice, then Pan can use 4-piece Swing Jazz or Protopunk. Swing Jazz only works during chain attacks or after an ultimate. Protopunk's shield bonus is useless, but it can give bonus damage when anyone does a perfect assist. Personally, I would go with 4-piece Astral Voice, 2-piece Swing Jazz as a generalist set. If you really need percent attack, you can substitute in 2-piece Hormone Punk. For teams, Pan Yinhu is even more limited than Yixuan. His Sheer Force buff is great for any Rupture agent, but as of version 2.0, we only have Yixuan. Pan is meant to pair with her as a solid A-rank buffer. He takes very little field time and can give bonus damage via his additional ability debuff and Astral Voice. Pan Yinhu's team heal with Yixuan's team HP sharing also synergize well for the new Miasma hazards incoming. Now, if you wanted to run Pan Yinhu as a non-Yixuan team, then you kinda need Jifufu. This would activate his additional ability debuff. Without Jifufu, Pan can't debuff enemies, and without a Rupture agent, his core passive Sheer Force buff is useless. You would essentially be left with a team healer who has a stronger defensive assist, not exactly amazing. Now, in terms of the Yunquei Summit team, Jifufu adds crit damage, chain attack, and ultimate buffs. She provides some off-field stunning and can use the new King of the Summit drive this set to further buff Yixuan. Unfortunately, I don't believe Jifufu has a quick assist, so Pan's still the only Astral Voice supplier. You could swap to Swing Jazz maybe if you wanted. If you didn't watch my Yixuan guide, I will briefly discuss the non-Jifufu options. Yixuan and Pan can run attack buffers like Astral, Caesar, or Lucy. If you use Astral and Lucy, you can keep Astral Voice stacks much easier. With Astral, you got double team healers, and with Caesar, you probably have the tankiest team around considering Yixuan's many iframe moves. Sounds like a nice setup for the future Battle Tower update. For other allies, Jifufu can be replaced by Trigger or Poker for off-field stunning. Both have their own backwards quick assists, which work nicely with Astral Voice, and they can run the new King of the Summit set. Trigger can't get her additional ability, but she still does very well in this team. Poker can't get her damage taken debuff without Mindscapes 6. Good luck with that. If you want a more burst focus stunner, you could also instead take Kaleido. As of the making of this video, we do not know when or if more Rupture agents are on the way. We could get 2 more in version 2.1, or there could be none. Outside of Yixuan teams, Pan Yinhu will be a little lonely for now. For the after party tips section, let's talk about Pan Yinhu's other moves. Pan's basic attack string consists of 4 parts. The 4th basic does have a wide-looking AoE blast, but all of Pan's attacks hit a little farther than expected. Pan's dash attack is a simple combo. This shortcuts into his 3rd basic for a more flowy combo, and you can go into the 4th basic as well. The dash attack into the basic attacks makes for a decent crowd control move. Pan can push back smaller mobs in a direction. Now, Pan Yinhu's dodge counters a sweet flying kick, nice and simple. The quick assist uses the same animation. Pan's regular special is a single strike into a firecracker splash. It looks cool, but sadly does very little damage. When it comes to the manual touch of death use, you generally don't want to be in this position because that means you didn't quick assist out, which means you didn't give the Sheer Force buff to your Rupture agents. If you did want to run Pan as a main DPS or something, then there is a wonky situation you should be aware of. If you do your EX special and you still have 60 energy, you must press special 3 more times right after to do Touch of Death. If you wait a second or two, Pan is just going to do another EX special, which is going to waste your previous Break Force points. Again, this is not a normal occurrence. After EX special, you should just quick assist out and Pan does Touch of Death automatically. With that said, Pan Yinhu is a very simple agent specializing in supporting the new Rupture class. He only has 1 customer as of this video, but Pan's gonna cook up a very nice buffet for Yixuan. You got some bonus damage appetizers, a Sheer Force main course, and then a refreshing healing dessert. If you're planning to get Yixuan, you most likely will end up with Pan Yinhu along the way. He may require a little bit of work to build for 3000 attack, but that's mostly if you want to splurge for some extra energy regen. I do think it's a nice goal to shoot for. Be on the lookout for future Rupture agents. An actual Rupture support agent most likely will outdo Pan, but for the moment he seems pretty good for his specialty. Expensive S-rank meals are nice, but sometimes the simple dishes taste best. Thank you for watching, have fun with Pan Yinhu and Season 2 of Zenless Zone Zero. I will see you in the next video.